Now I'm ready to start making fruit to go into my bowl. When I think about fruit, I want to think about large pieces of fruit. If I do blueberries and apples, the blueberries are going to fall to the bottom and we're not going to see them anyway. You want to make about 4 or 5 pieces of fruit that fill the bowl, so you don't want to do anything too small. I'm going to start with a basic fruit. Let's start with an orange because that's basically rolling a ball of clay. But now I want to think about the details of an orange. What happens at the end where the stem is. So maybe I'm going to take the back of one of these tools, press it in, and then I like this tool to make those little creases at the end of an orange. And then I'm also going to think about the texture of an orange. Texture of an orange is a little bit bumpy, and there's many ways you can do it. One way is maybe taking the rubber tip tool here and just tap, 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 tap all over, and you can get the texture that way. Another way to get the texture is I like using the texture that's on the needle tool, and I can just roll it and it will give the texture, and then this will show up through the glaze. And then this will go into my bowl of fruit. The next piece of fruit I'm going to make, I'm going to think about maybe an apple. So I want to look at the size of clay I have compared to my orange. So now maybe this is more of a grapefruit now, if this are an apple, which is fine, but that would change the colors that I'm going to use when I glaze it. So I need to be mindful that really an apple and orange is about the same size, and if you wind up different, you have to think of them as different things. So to make my apple, I'm going to start with the dimple on the bottom, and then I want to push out those little feet on the bottom of an apple. So by pushing this in here, that will allow from the side it to look like it has the little feet of an apple. Then I'm thinking about the top of the apple, so I'm going to press it down. Apples are Red Delicious apple, that's what I'm thinking about, are skinnier at the bottom, and then they go in at the top a little bit. So I'm using my fingers. My fingers are often my best tools. Pressing it in. And then if I really want to make a stem, I'm not going to be able to make it as thin as a real apple stem. So I'm going to exaggerate it a little bit, and I'm going to use some vinegar, and that's going to attach my apple stem. Really press it together firmly. And there's my apple. So that's going to go into my bowl. Next fruit I'd like to try would be a pear. So I'm thinking about the size of my apple and my orange. And a pear also starts as a ball, but it is skinnier at the top. So I'm going to use my fingers to press it in and smooth it out. And there's a pear, and I can go ahead and do a stem on the pear the same way. And there's my pear. Other fruits I could do would be, you want to think about fruits that you can hold in your hand to eat. So you wouldn't do a pineapple because that's not going to fit in this bowl. You can make multiple apples and then glaze them with many different colors. Bananas are a tricky one. Lots of kids like to do bananas, but bananas in relation to all these fruits are much longer, and kids often wind up making them look a little too skinny, and they wind up looking like a string bean. and they often break. So I advise children not to do bananas. You don't want to do strawberries and blueberries, blackberries. They'll fall to the bottom. You can do a bunch of grapes, and if you want to do a bunch of grapes, first thing you would do is make all the different pieces of grapes, but really think about the size compared to an apple. Look at how big these are compared to this apple. That's not how big a grape would be. It would be much smaller. So I'm going to break these in half. Make your grapes. And then you would stick them together with vinegar. I don't know why the vinegar works, but it's magic. And I also suggest on the back smoothing them together, because otherwise they'll fall apart. So here's the beginning of my grapes. Okay, really smooth them together on the back. And when you put them in, you can position them in a way so that you can't notice that there's nothing behind it. So they would go like that. You can do tomatoes. You can do, so if I wanted to do a tomato, I would think about the size of the other fruits. Again, a tomato is like the size of an apple. And a lot of this is going to come out the way I want it to look when I glaze it. So for now, this would be my tomato. And then my bowl of fruit is finished. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces of fruit. Nothing too small. They rise up out of the bowl a little bit, and there's nothing falling to the bottom. Don't make any fruit to the bottom that you can't see. It's a waste of time. So you want to make larger pieces of fruit that will fill the bowl. And there you have it.